Greetings, user. Neural link established. Ready for takeoff.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the quarterfinals of Mania World Cup 7 Key. This is going to be the final match for this round. It's going to be Malaysia taking on Japan. I'm one of your commentators for today, Cryolin. I'm joined by Sparky. How's it going, man?
It's going fantastic. I mean, it feels like the rounds have been flying by. We're already at the end of the quarterfinals, and what a way to end it. We have Malaysia going up against Japan.
Yeah, Malaysia and Japan, they're basically a staple of World Cup matches right now. Even in OWC, there has been a Malaysia versus Japan going to tiebreaker. And also in MWC 2021, there was also Malaysia going up against Japan up to a tiebreaker. So this is one that I'm very excited to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like these two teams always find a way to meet up with each other, and they always seem to give us a very electrifying show. I mean, Japan winning a bit of a close one against Spain in their round of 16 matchup, winning it 6-4, and Malaysia having a bit of an easier time against the United States, 6-1. Both of them doing incredibly well to win their matchups, and now they're here in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, it's definitely. I can definitely see it going to be pretty close, though. Not too sure if there's any favorites or if it's going to be a blowout.
Let's hope for a very close matchup. I would love to see this one go the distance.
Yeah, same. Honestly, that previous match, Philippines versus Thailand, ended kind of prematurely for my tastes. But it is what it is. You just have to, push through. Malaysia versus Japan. Hope that it's going to be a banger of a match.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have some real heavy hitters on both sides. You have folks that need no introductions like Chiwi and Neo, staples in the 4K World Cup scene, and then you have folks like Suzuha, My Angel Koishi, just putting up absolutely dominating performances in their own rights. It's gonna be a matter of who decides to step up to the plate here and really put their foot down and stamp some authority on this match.
Yeah, it could definitely go either way. I would peg Malaysia as a more long note focused team. A lot of them coming from O2 Gems, specifically Chiwi and Neo. And over for Japan, with powerhouses like Suzuha and Maenja Koichi, also very proficient in other rhythm games. I believe BMS and also O2 Gem, they have a little bit of experience with that. But with that roll's already happening, so let's get right into that.
Yeah, Chiwi rolling with that 91, Lynx is rolling that 27, so it looks like Japan's going to be banning first, and they're going to get rid of LN1. Not a lot of love for this pick, Island Village, and I mean, these coordination picks, it just seems like of the two between Mojito and Island Village seems to be the one on everyone's radar. It's either been banned or has just been ignored.
Yeah, understandably so. With these low star rating LNs, it's a lot more trickier than you expect. So now we're gonna be waiting on Malaysia's ban. It could be anything really.
Yeah, they have pick a litter here, and we say goodbye to Phalanx.
Oh, okay. So, pretty much Phalanx only picked once in all of the matches, and it's been banned literally every other time.
Yeah, I think we got to see exactly why the teams have been banning Phalanx out. South Korea putting on an absolute clinic against Canada on that pick. I mean, it is an absolutely brutal map, and I mean, no reason to have that risk there. This map is definitely a bit of a step above the difficulty for the rest. And oh boy. Almost had a early tiebreaker pick, maybe foreshadowing things to come here.
Wait, it's 0-0 now. They're tied, so they should play the tiebreaker. That's how it works, right?
This is true. They are tied 0-0. But with that being said, Malaysia do decide to go with 8-bit Voyager here, going for that denser side of the LN pool.
Right, understandable. Malaysia is an LN country, I would say. So definitely a really solid first choice for them.
Yeah, I want to get the feelers out just to see how comfortable Japan are, how practiced they are with these LN picks. It'll really influence where Malaysia decides to go with their strategy later on down the match.
So for lineups, we see Malaysia pushing Chiwi 10 and Neo. as expected, because these are basically the two highest ranked players in the Malaysian leaderboards, and also basically long note names. They can handle their high SR LN maps very well.
Yeah, and honestly, whenever I think LN maps, I think Chiwi. Like, that's the first name that comes to mind whenever it comes to performing on maps like this. But with that being said, we did have a last second substitution. Lulu M coming in for Japan. Gonna be pairing up with Manager Koishi here.
If Manager Koichi decides to load in.
There we go. Everybody's synced up. Looks like we're already into the map. It'll be interesting to see how the teams perform. Opening map of the last quarterfinals match. Let's see what happens.
Alright, starting off, I imagine most of these misses will be due to client, but I think Neo actually took quite a bit of a drop earlier on.
Yeah, it looks like the one miss from Neo was organic, but Lulu M trades that miss right back, going into the second quarter of the map.
Yeah,
and seems to be struggling on his density right now. Yeah, it's very easy to chain misses on maps as dense as this. If you misread any sort of pattern, it's very easy to catch more as you try and recompose yourself and get back into it. And right now, Malaysia's going to have a bit of an advantage going into the second third of the map.
Yeah, early on, quarter of the way through, they're up by about 20,000 points. And Chiwi still holding up that 99.6% accuracy. That is actually pretty good, considering Neo and Manager Koichi both traded misses, so there's not going to be a lot of change there.
Yeah, with Lulu M following closely behind.
Yeah, this tiny inverse section right here does catch Lulu M's combo off guard, and yeah, Malaysia is going to continue holding on to that lead. Lulu M finds herself another break. Manager Koichi doing their absolute best, trying to match up with Neo, very close in accuracy, but with Lulu M finding another break.
Yeah, Neo follows it closely behind, but right now the main difference here is the fact that Chiwi's still holding on to that full combo, has the highest accuracy in this lobby by a long shot, climbing right now, 99.7 almost, and this lead is quickly becoming insurmountable for Malaysia. Japan gonna need quite a couple of misses coming out from Chiwi, specifically if they want to have a chance to get back into this. The lead is growing to about 50,000 now.
Yeah, getting Chiwi to miss is one thing, but there is also the issue of Lulu M finding multiple breaks here and there.
Yeah, combo coming hard to come by right now for Lulu M, resetting yet again. It seems like the density here might be just a bit too much for them, but I mean, this is Malaysia's pick, so you'd imagine that Malaysia would be the ones favored in a matchup like this as we get into the last sliver of map, and there's not a lot of time left for Japan to make a comeback here.
So does Chiwi get the 990k? Very close, but no cigar, but that is still going to be enough. Malaysia takes the first point.
What a performance there from Chiwi. Really setting the tone right now for Malaysia and where they're at right now mentally. Oh my goodness. And Malaysia, quick 1-0 lead here.
Yeah, also actually in Twitch chat, there are people saying that Suzuha is not present in the match currently due to internet issues, so that is actually going to hurt. Suzuha is their highest ranked player, the most proficient out of, or maybe not the most proficient out of all of them, right? But they're just like, you know, probably going to be the main carry for most of the picks.
Oh, that makes sense. That's very unfortunate. Hopefully they can come back and contest some of these picks for Japan. You would hate to be a man down in a matchup like this, but it looks like Japan's gonna go with Shujugo Mita. So going into that rice pool now. Chiwi did need to restart their game.
Yeah, exactly that. But yeah, Chiwi, aside from being a long note main, honestly their accuracy, their ratio game on rice picks is also honestly pretty scary.
Yeah, and on picks like this, with the way the rice picks have been going, it's been a matter of who can hold their accuracy towards the very end. And if you have lag spikes, you want to make sure you take care of those. You would not want to drop combo or drop any unnecessary bad judgments just because the game's acting up just a little bit. So take care to make sure that that's corrected.
Yeah, lag spikes, especially on something as straightforward and as consistent as Shotogan Mita, but yeah, it become kind of a match where we see whoever drops combo first will be the one to trail most of the way. So yeah, take care of your hardware issues first before going back into this.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like the most straightforward maps become near impossible when you start to account for the fact of nerves and taking in the moment of what's going on. You're playing on the biggest stage for 7 key players, arguably. You want to make sure you do your absolute best, and when you start overthinking it a little bit, that's when the misses start coming. But with that being said, they are loaded into the map. Let's see if Japan can answer back here.
Intro is pretty elementary. There's not a lot of rough patterns at the start, so we are gonna see some flickering scores happening right at the beginning here. But that will probably definitely change in just a few moments as you start to see here the court stream start right here, and Lulu M finds himself dropping below 99.5, and both Kiwi and Neo over on Malaysia still holding very strong accuracies. Koichi is also still holding up, at least contesting. Neo has better accuracy than them, but Kiwi is just okay. Well, that slight drop, things are looking a little bit more even now.
Yeah, right now I think we can pin the lead that Malaysia has on Lulu M's accuracy right now. It's very important that they hold on to a combo at least. Maybe if Malaysia catches a miss as we get into the back half of the map, it will give them an opportunity to strike, take the lead back away from them. But with Chiwi and Neo holding on to their full combos, I mean, this is going to be rather difficult.
They got through the first court stream section pretty much unscathed, all of them still having the full combos. This is just a little bit of a court jack-ish moment. Should be helping everyone get their accuracies back on check.
Yeah, you can see Lulu climbing back right now as we get into more court stream here. Last quarter of the map, and this is still a very fragile lead for Malaysia. A couple of bad judgments coming out of Neo here, but Lulu does drop.
Oh, yeah, Lulu finding the drop. Yeah, and the second part of the court streams gets pretty much denser than the first. Introduces a lot more bracketing, a lot more dense court streams in general.
Yeah, there's only a sliver of map left, not a lot of time here. Lulu getting back over that 400 combo cap, but it might be too little too late here to mount a comeback. Malaysia looking very comfortable, and they're going to take a break point here to start off this match now, 2-0. Chiwi with that ratio.
Very solid one. Yeah, that ratio pushes him past My Angel Koichi. And Neo also with that full combo definitely helps in that regard. Lulu M unfortunately with that one break, but unfortunately I don't think it would have mattered all that much. That ratio and that 200 count is kinda a little bit too high.
Yeah, when all is said and done, Malaysia in the driver's seat here, going back to their picking out that breakpoint very early on in the match, going to be very, very good to work with here. I would be surprised if they stay with the Rice. I think they're going to venture back into this LN pool. Maybe someone like Lover's War coming out.
Yeah, but still, honestly, I think Malaysia could actually go with anything right now because they do have the knowledge that Suzuha is not present. So that's is a big chunk of Japan's strength taken out just like that.
It remains to be seen if they want to capitalize on that. It is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I mean, you hate to have technical issues or connection issues mar a match like this, but I mean, yeah, that's why you have your teammates got to step up. And right on cue, Love is War comes out for Malaysia here.
Yeah, you called it.
And My Angel Koichi voicing their displeasure in the lobby chat. Probably not the most comfortable on pick like this. Maybe this was an opportunity where Suzuha might have come in to maybe tank the blow here. Oh, that being said, it looks like everybody's ready. We're not going to have any substitutions here.
Actually, based on that IRC chat, it also looks like Kiwi and Neo might not really like this pick a lot, but it's probably the best chance that they have with the knowledge that Suzuha isn't here.
Yeah, maybe venturing out into the more risky picks, knowing that the answer of the lineup for Japan isn't there at 100%. But with that being said, we are loaded into this third map of this quarterfinals matchup.
Immediately we see Lulu breaking, not so comfortable on these element patterns with the tiny inverse sections and also a little bit of a staggered release. But so is manager Koichi, finding a lot more breaks.
Oh boy, and it looks like this pick might already be panning out in the favor of Malaysia, taking full advantage of Japan's roster issues right now, as we see Lulu drop yet again, falling down to that low 96 here, having quite a bit of an issue with this LN pick.
Yeah, definitely a pretty smart decision by Malaysia.
And that remains to be seen. Yeah, we're still very early on in the map.
I'm kind of interested to see if Chiwi and Neo will be able to pull out that full combo.
It remains to be seen. Right now, they're both on track for it. And right as I said, Chiwi does drop his first miss of this match. Funnily enough, dropping down to 99.5, still holding on to the highest accuracy in the lobby despite that miss. So Neo, the only one with the full combo left in the lobby. Both Malaysian players towering head and shoulders above in the accuracy over their Japanese counterparts, 98.3, 97.3 respectively for Japan, but the 99 coming out for Malaysia. And this lead is growing further and further. It would take quite a couple of misses.
At this point, it's still pretty early on. It's only halfway through, but I dare to say that looks pretty insurmountable at this point.
Yeah, it will take a monumental collapse at this point from Malaysia to hand this lead back over to Japan as we get into the last third of the map. The patterns don't get any easier. These releases are very, very easy to trip up on, as we see from manager Koichi. Dropping yet again as we get into the last quarter. It only gets denser. I mean, this map does not relent. Only a sliver of map left, and Malaysia in cruise control right now. Neo still with that full combo.
Are we gonna see it?
Oh my goodness, everybody's focusing down on that bottom left-hand corner. Can Neo do it? Chiwi doing very well to recover his combo as well from that early drop. And right now, if you're Japan, you start wondering what the pick is going to be. And Neo drops at the very end. Oh no, the choke coming out.
And that inverse might have just been a tad bit too dense for him to handle. But nevertheless, that is still going to be point number 3 for Malaysia. And a dominating one at that. With over 100,000 points of difference.
Yeah, definitely the right pick coming out here for Malaysia. Going to take full advantage and go up 3-0. Japan with it all to do right now. Maybe you gotta take a second, reevaluate what the strategy is gonna be. Gotta pick something that's comfortable.
Well,
that being said,
what comes to mind when we think comfortable is, I would imagine Carnation and maybe L99. But
I was gonna say L99, and right on cue, L99. Oh boy. I mean, this pick is very, I would say very coin flippy. I feel like it's either going to go incredibly well or incredibly bad. And by incredibly bad, I mean just catching one miss. I mean, just single misses can decide this entire map with how straightforward it is. It's just core jacks for the better part of 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, chord jacks on 7 key, at least when compared to 4 key, is like on a different level. With 7 key, there's a lot more varying patterns that you have to train your fingers to be able to handle.
Yeah, definitely not straightforward in the slightest, but you'd imagine that players of this caliber can handle them to a certain extent. So it remains to be seen if Japan can gain a foothold in this match, maybe take a point away from Malaysia as we load into the map. Scores are flickering back and forth.
Yeah, with Cortex, there's not much to say, but I mean, if misses happen, they are seriously detrimental.
Yeah, almost near fatal in matchups like this. Right now, Neo holding on to the highest accuracy in the lobby, 99.94, followed closely behind by Manajo, Koichi, and Chiwi. And Lulu not that far behind, still within striking distance. If they can hold on to the combo here, like I've been saying, just hold on to the combo, see if you can catch a miss from Malaysia and capitalize on it afterwards. That's all you can really do in situations like this.
There is still a chance.
Yeah, this is a very fragile lead despite it being in Malaysia's favor. Anything can happen as we get into the second third of the map. A couple of 200s coming out from the players, nothing too detrimental. It's really just watching for combo breaks, everybody holding on to their full combos right now as we get into the back half of the map.
Yeah, as you see with a lot of the maps, the back half starts to pick up in density a little bit. Oh, there is a little tiny break section, actually not enough to recover your stamina, I'd say. But with all four players still holding full combos, stamina is not an issue whatsoever.
Yeah, this is going to come down to the accuracy at the very end of the day, and Neo and Chiwi are lockstep with each other, practically tied, 99.9s apiece. And Japan not too far behind, Manajo Koichi 99.8, 99.7 for Lulu M. Doing very well, regaining their composure there from the earlier maps, still holding on to the full combos, but with a quarter of the map left, and with Malaysia holding on to the accuracy like they are, you feel like, I mean, when your opponent's putting on performances like this, a miss is going to be absolutely fatal here as we get into the last sliver of map.
Yeah, misses have to happen from Malaysia.
That being said, this map winds down very smoothly. There's not a lot of gimmicks left in this map. Last sliver, a bit of a break. Here we go, last volley.
Here we go. Will we be seeing any breaks happening? Doesn't
4
look
full
to be the
combos
case right now.
There are going to be 2 players very disappointed with the scoreboard right now. You would imagine with a full combo, you feel like that would be enough to win, and Malaysia hold on with the accuracy alone.
My. Wow.
That is an incredible team score. 996, 995. Both players.
Actually insane.
Oh my goodness. I mean, hats off to Japan. You had to pick something like this to try and wrestle some control back in this match. But I mean, when your opponents are ratioing as well as Chiwi and Neo are, I mean, what can you do in that situation?
Not a lot. Just have to pray.
And unfortunately, it didn't work out as the pick goes back to Malaysia. I mean, they can run the gamut here. I mean, it feels like the map pool has expanded. They were really venturing in the lower half of this map pool, the LNs, and we haven't seen the hybrids come out. Those are still an option here. But if they can win the accuracy battle in the Rice and win the reading battle in the LN, I mean, sky's the limit for them.
Yeah, they can basically pick anything, I would say.
Yeah, if I were to harken a guess, I mean, maybe Carnation comes out. Maybe that wasn't in the plans, but with everything going on right now, start to feel a little emboldened to go into that Rice pool yourself.
Yeah, building up that confidence, 4-0 up, taking 2 breakpoints already.
Oh, that being said, they decide to stick with their guns, stick with what they're comfortable with, what they're known for. Mojito comes out.
The long note game continues.
It's the name of the game here for Malaysia, and this one definitely less on the denser side, more on the coordination, but there's some very tricky little Rice interspersed in the LNs, just there to trip you up a little bit. Gotta really know this song to be able to anticipate stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure, but I think Malaysia might be not too sure, but I think they're not gonna have that much of an issue, at least compared to Japan. We see Lulu M swapping out for Lanxess.
Yeah, the call has been made. Gotta change things up a little bit. They've been struggling on the LNs. I mean, I say struggle. I mean, they're still putting up amazing performances, but just compared to their opponents on the other side, gotta change things up a little bit. Maybe Lanxess here can give Japan a little boost here to try and get over what is an absolutely dominating performance right now from Malaysia.
Yeah, Lanxess is gonna be their trap card.
Let's see if it works out in their favor. It looks like the players are ready, just readying up. Let's roll on into it. So 3 minutes of solid coordination, waiting for Bancho to get everybody synced up. But here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
It's very early on here, but Malaysia holding on to a very narrow advantage right out the gates. Just a couple of releases separating the players. Very important to make sure you don't trip up. And Chiwi drops the first miss of the map.
Chiwi finds the first trip up, and what a time to do it right before 400 combo.
But Lanxess trades it back.
Lanxess trading it back. But accuracy-wise, Malaysia still is pretty far ahead though. Lens is already dropping below 99%, leaving my Angel Koichi to try to carry this for Japan.
Yeah, and another miss from Chiwi though.
Miss number 2 from Chiwi. Oh,
and again,
another one, quick succession.
Having a bit of issues coordinating these LNs, and I mean, Neo is the one holding it down for Malaysia right now, and Angel Koichi and Lanxess having a bit of struggles of their own. Lanxess all the way down into the 97s, low 99s for Angel Koichi, and Chiwi on Malaysia's side having a bit of an issue.
Yeah, Chiwi is honestly the last person I expect to have these sort of breaks.
Yeah, but to be fair, when it comes to these slower LN picks, I mean, I think we said it earlier on, these can be very deceptive. I mean, it might be why they banned out LN1. It's just the sparsity of the LNs really test your focus most of all. But halfway through the map, I mean, Japan's having their own set of struggles here. Neo, the only full combo left in the lobby. And Malaysia have this lead just based off the back of Lanxess' struggles. 97.5 for them.
Chiwi finding another break actually might have misread that.
Yeah, as we get to the last...
Still above 99%. That is still something commendable.
Yeah, these drops have been very clean. I feel like they're just either releasing a little early, just based on the UR bar, but...
Could also be releasing the wrong note.
That is very true.
Yeah, coordination is a lot different than density, because with density it's pretty straightforward. You can play the long notes kind of like regular notes, and you still find yourself hitting pretty much all of them. But with coordination, it's a whole different game.
Yeah, very punishing.
Releasing something and holding something else that you're not really accustomed to.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that despite all of these, I would say, slider breaks from Chiwi, he's still tied in accuracy with Neo, who is holding on to the only full combo in the lobby, which just goes to show how crazy the ratios are for the Malaysian side. As we finish off this map, Malaysia going to match point already against Japan.
Yeah, 5-0. Unfortunately, unlike 4K and OWC, this one does not look like it will go to tiebreaker anytime soon, unless
it's the false sense of security, Cryo. Japan spotted Malaysia 5 points. Here they come.
Like here, we're just gonna give you 5 points. Yeah, you need them.
Oh my goodness. Neo, despite the full combo, saying that was his worst score on the map. Okay, yeah, okay. Full combo, casual, just another day at the office. That's ridiculous. But that being said, it is Japan's pick, and they have it all to do. Backs against the wall, match point against Malaysia. You've got to reverse sweep at this point to have a chance. Take it to tiebreaker, and they're gonna start it off with Carnation.
Yeah, Carnation, the faster court stream pick compared to Shoto Gamita.
So this might be a last gasp, but hopefully they can find a way in into this match. It looks like Lanxess is going to be staying in for Japan. Manager Koichi going through all the picks right now, and Chiwi and Neo holding down the fort for Malaysia. Players giving each other a bit of mutual respect in the lobby.
Always good to see some good sportsmanship.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like the players are ready. We are loaded into what is potentially the last map of this winners bracket matchup. Malaysia 5-0 against Japan.
Japan right now, with their backs against the wall, they have to perform on Carnation, and Malaysia has to find breaks. Japan still wants to stay in this, not get swept.
Yeah, right now.
As we've seen in pretty much the 5 previous picks, Malaysia's Kiwi and Neo having relatively high accuracy, and over for Japan, it's a second player, Lenses, that seems to be struggling a little bit on the accuracy side.
Yeah, right now the job for Lanxess is to hold on to that full combo. Neo dropping the first point, but it's quickly traded back from Lanxess. Oh boy. They had the opportunity to capitalize on that early miss from Neo, not seized upon, and is going to give Malaysia a chance to grow this lead now. Already halfway through the map.
Basically neutralizing each other.
Yeah, and in the battle of Chiwi versus Manager Koichi, it looks like Chiwi is winning that accuracy battle, so that's probably where the difference is here. Lanxess dropping down to at 98, Neo back up into the mid 99s now.
Another miss coming out from Lenses right before the transition into these, I guess you can call them some long notes, but not really that. It's not really a long note section.
Go put these noodles in my map. We're down to the last quarter of the map, and the door is quickly closing on Japan's hopes of getting back into this match. Lanxess dropping it again, and you feel like that might be the final nail in the coffin on this match. Oh boy. Barring an absolute collapse from Malaysia, it looks like they're going to be able to hold on. Chiwi with the full combo, follow closely behind by Manager Koichi.
Even if the final court stream section is the densest one, Malaysia had no problems with it. They secured their 6th and final point and swept Japan down into losers bracket.
Oh boy, an amazing performance coming out from Chiwi and Neo. And like you said, it's like, this isn't the end of the road for either team. Japan goes down to that losers bracket, and with that, we have decided the teams for the semifinals.
So yeah, Malaysia will be taking on China, I believe, in the winners bracket.
Oh boy, that'll be heck of a matchup. And with that being said, we are officially done with the quarterfinals. Congratulations to Malaysia moving on in the winners bracket. And with that being said, Cryo, if I want to support the teams in any way, shape, or form, do you know any way I could go about doing that?
Oh, of course. Now, if you go to the OSU website and look at the store, you'll find a brand new edition there, just added very recently. And those are called profile banners. For the low price of $250, you too can support one of your favorite countries in the remaining matches in MWC.
Yeah, even if they have been eliminated, you can show your support for your favorite teams in the 7-Key World Cup. All the ones that qualified are available for purchase. And here we see the bracket. We have South Korea going up against the Philippines, China going up against Malaysia, just absolute juggernauts in their own rights. Going up against it, Brazil going up against Japan, Poland against Indonesia, Chile against Thailand.
Okay,
there are some very spicy matchups in this losers bracket. You do not want to miss it.
Okay, hold up. Poland is going up against Indonesia. This has happened so many times in so many tournaments.
They're just destined to meet.
Just as much as Malaysia versus Japan, Poland versus Indonesia is also bound to happen sometime in the tournament.
Yes, they're just always find a way to meet up in these brackets. But with that being said, we do have one other thing to contend with. They need a map pool to play with.
That they do.
And I believe that we will be giving you guys the semifinals map pool showcase at the top of the hour, I believe. Barring any changes, we'll keep you guys updated on that. But according to my sources, we are going to have that semifinal showcase at the top of the hour. So you don't want to miss it.
At top of the hour, it means it's roughly about 25 minutes. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello everyone and welcome back for the last stream of the weekend here, the Osamania 7 Key World Cup 2022 Semi-Finals Map Pool Showcase. I'm Potassium F here commentating with Underjoy.
Hello guys, what's up? Yeah,
Yep,
we
so,
are going to introduce the semi-finals map pool showcase, and this time you're gonna expect to see a noticeable bump of difficulty. These maps are pretty difficult. I would say the stronger teams will have to try a bit harder to get those full combos. And what's new in this pool is that we have two new types of maps. So we have 16 maps in total, including the tiebreaker. We have a longer rise peak, so no long nodes. And we have a new long node peak, which is, I would say, pretty interesting and different from what you have seen until now. And it's important to mention that those pools, starting from semifinals, will be longer, and the matches will be best of 13. So the first team that gets 7 points wins. So I guess that's all for the introduction, and we can start with the first map.
Yeah, let's get right into it then. So I believe the first map we have here is going to be Ravixi by Ikaruga Nex. This is another one of our classic chord stream density picks. So a bit slower than the speed picks, but definitely more dense than what you would expect from last pool.
It is 185 BPM with a very slight, 180 BPM with very slight slowdown in the middle, and it's noticeably denser from the start, from the previous round's peak. And this density doesn't let down throughout the whole peak. There is only one break in the middle, and the patterns are pretty relentless. So this is a pretty hard, I would say, stamina pick.
Yeah, you can see quite a lot of chord usage actually here going on. Very dense patterning overall, and a whole 12 BPM faster than the, I think, last one.
Yeah,
in
this
the
is
quarterfinals pool.
This is definitely a lot more taxing than the previous one. But the second half of the map is noticeably harder. Maybe it's not very hard to compare to the first one, but the density really ramps up there. And maybe this is actually one of the easier maps in this pool. For me, it's quite hard, but other people that playtested this said that this is definitely one of the easiest maps in the pool. So you can already see that this is easier. And now we have such a small break, because the song doesn't go very continuously here. And we will see a second section right ahead.
Yeah, these chord stream picks seem to be pretty popular so far in the matches, so you would expect to see this one being picked by quite a few teams that are comfortable with their rice.
Yeah, definitely based on consistency, this is one of the more consistency picks, and also one of the picks that teams won't have any issues getting accuracy on. As you can see in the replay, the stupid man did a very good job keeping it clean.
Yeah, here we go with density picking up again.
And the density is pretty cruel. Like, the patterns are very comfortable, but you need to have the hands required to do them correctly.
Yeah, when it comes to density, like high density, it's deceptively easy sometimes to just completely miss a lot of different notes in the chords if you're not really paying attention with your coordination.
There are also very small breaks in the last chord stream, but the density is more than enough to keep the player tired. So we had the first pick, and we can now introduce the second one, which is Kijibato V/WWW Fit Hoshimiya Toto. It's actually a Flexo 1-2-3 map, and this is a small edit for the tournament. And this is a long node density pick.
Yeah, so the density pick, one thing to note here that I can see at the bottom there is the star rating. We're almost 8 stars now. Not that that means a whole lot with the LN maps, but still fun to see it go up as we're going on in the pools.
Yeah. I think most of 7K players actually recognize this map because this is probably one of the Flexo's most popular long note maps that aren't loved yet. And what to say, I'm really glad that the column blocks were removed, because on this map we would have seen them all the time. The OD is 7, yeah, the OD is 7 and not very high, but also not very low. We have increased it. And you can see some very difficult patterns that target one hand at a time from long notes, but this will change soon.
So here we go.
Yeah, the first, like say, major section. The hardest part of this song is again the ending, which is a pretty popular thing in 7 key. But yeah, this is a pretty dense one. You can see. I also expect this will be one of the more popular picks, because this long note map, albeit pretty difficult, is not very difficult in terms of like pattern complexity.
Yeah, so decently comfortable patterns overall. Like the higher level teams that are really comfortable with LN, definitely gonna like this pick overall.
Yeah, we have also remade a section in the middle, because most of the players that know this map know that there is the SV version, and it has like a very weird and out of place 7 chords in the middle that just like go. So we decided to edit them into something more difficult.
Something more difficult.
The section will be approaching.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, this is the section.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Oh, those are massive gaps as well in the inverse. That can be really awkward to be able to act.
Yeah, but this is... I say this should be fine, especially that the BPM isn't that high. It's much lower than the last pick actually, the 8-bit Voyager, but the density is more than enough to say that this is much more difficult. Especially the last section, which we will see.
And plenty of these sweeps that we were seeing as well with 8-bit Voyager. Definitely something that can ruin accuracy.
Yeah, but those patterns are very comfortable. I like playing them a lot, and this is a very flowy and fluent map. Yes, those patterns might be a bit mind-blockable because of how they are structured and how they are flowing from one side to another, but in general this is pretty standard, I guess, for maps of that type. Also, I would say, for me personally, it's the easiest map, long map of the pool, but again, I'm more of a Rise main, so I suppose that Rise players will find this more manageable than, for example, other long maps.
Yeah, that's true. This is the density pick does tend to be the most comfortable relatively for the Rise players, so maybe something that some Rise teams might get a little bit close with.
Yep, exactly. So we can introduce the third map of the pool, which is a hybrid, and it's Fake by ASCII. This is first VTuber map of the pool.
Yeah, I like how you say the first VTuber map of the pool. Take note, chat.
Yes. Yes, you can guess how many maps will be there from VTubers. And no, we are not doing this on purpose. Or are we? But again, anyway, this is a pretty fast hybrid. This is 255 BPM. And this is, I would say, mainly difficult because of the BPM. This has some pretty fast bursts paired with long notes that are pretty difficult. So this is probably the most balanced hybrid of all of three we have.
Yeah, a lot of really long holds we're seeing here as well. And oh wow, okay, a lot of short long notes, kind of tricky releases as well, it looks like here, along with the Rise patterning in between.
I can see already in the chat, please God, no stop with the VTuber songs. Yeah. I mean, this song is pretty good. It's fast, it's lively. Nothing like very annoying to be here, I guess. Also, shoutouts to ASCII.
Yeah, definitely at this kind of BPM, playing some of these patterns is really going to be tricky. 255 is actually quite high.
Yeah, this difficulty of this song is actually pretty leveled throughout. It's also quite long because it's almost 4 minutes, but this pick is pretty, I would say, consistency based in terms of hybrids. It may be a bit difficult because this is one of the harder long note patterns, but in general this is again rather standard, nothing very uncomfortable. And the only difficulty would here be the BPM and some occasional jacks and bursts that are the byproduct of it.
Yeah, perhaps we'll see a few picks for this one then. I guess in a way similar to the previous VTuber map that we had last pool, that was a little bit more consistency based.
Yeah, I think this is one of the more like approachable picks, and it's also quite similar to the last pool's VTuber map. So yeah, we expect this to be decently popular.
Well, some of these
Maybe
releases actually look deceptively tricky in that section, like there.
yeah, a bit, but it's nothing very difficult. I would say, yeah, the difficulty is the density here, and along with some like mini jacks.
Yeah, I guess the teams that are still in the tournament are exceptionally strong, so it won't be too ridiculously phased by hard patterns.
Yeah, I think most of the teams should fare on this relatively well. This isn't on the harder side of the pool, definitely. We are going to get into that in a moment, but yeah, this is a very enjoyable pick, I would say. A lot of very diverse patterns, the long notes, the jacks, the bars, everything is here, some trills. Yeah, the last chorus is maybe a bit harder, but still it isn't like very spiky. This might be a bit difficult to hit, the last ending and those weird wonky trills.
Yeah, right at the very end of the map there. Okay. So I believe the next map we're going to get into now is going to be Sparks.
Yeah, another VTuber map. This is
Oh,
yes,
right.
so it's
this
the
is the other-
second one.
We've got them
Yes,
right after each other, right?
Yeah, and this is actually very short. This is a mixed rice pick by Remoring, and this is a pretty neat mix of burst and jacks with anything else. This is also not very difficult, but some teams that cannot core jack might have some problems with this.
Also, chord jacks here, a little bit of chord jacks at 132 BPM as well. So that is actually pretty significantly fast if that's 1/4 snap.
This one's burst on the right hand might be pretty tricky to execute. And after this build up, we entered the main part of the chart, which is actually the main dish of its difficulty. It features very diverse patterns, which are borderline tech, but also not quite.
Oh,
And you can see it's pretty difficult to keep your consistency on. It might be not the hardest map of the pool, but this might be risky to pick if you aren't comfortable with F-Team those bursts.
Yeah, and switching between the jacks and bursts so frequently as well can prove to be pretty difficult.
Yes, luckily this is short, so
So not
yes,
too
this
draining.
is probably
on
the hardest
stamina.
section. And the ending is these simple core jacks.
So a nice and short pick, but definitely pretty dangerous because single misses are going to mean a lot more on such a TV size map like that.
Yeah, definitely. It isn't very difficult, but yeah. And moving to the next map, this is actually my map, and if you hated Island Village, you will hate this a lot more than that, because
no.
this is the long not release pick. And you can already see star rating 4.4. This is going to be a hell of a release map, and played by Whole Life Mappool. Shout out to Whole Life. So yeah, you can already see some disjointed releases. The OD is a bit lower because it's 7, but this doesn't mean this is easy to accuracy. Quite the contrary. This is probably one of the hardest long note maps in the pool just because how ridiculous it is to hack, even though it's relatively easy to full combo.
Yeah, definitely. Island Village Last Pool being one of the most banned maps by far. Definitely one of the kind of skill sets that a lot of teams definitely like to stay away from.
Yeah, this is probably mostly because long node maps are pretty stressing, and also specifically the long node release maps are something that most long node players don't like practice on a daily basis, because playing with Score V2 is pretty rare amongst like normal auto-jam players that just love to play some dense long node maps. But yeah, this is one of the like harder sections in the map, and after this break we will be introduced to more long node releases that are especially difficult. Yes, there are also some small bursts, but they shouldn't be a problem. The main problem are the like shorter releases that also are a bit joined with some coordination elements later on.
And it's just so tense. There's not really any, very short break section here, but even in the relatively slow sections of the song, there's so many different disjointed releases everywhere that you really can't lose your concentration at any point in the map.
Yeah, this is probably the hardest part of the chart, the like last chorus, and you can see this is I would say disgusting. It's my own map, so I guess my release maps are pretty known for that, for being disgusting. I think the song is nice and calm. Yes.
Yeah, the calm songs being the most stressful, that's definitely a theme for LN picks in general.
Okay, so we can get into another pick. This is Shuten no Saki ga Aru Tosuru Naraba, and it's mapped by Leju, and this is hot stream speed pick. Clocking at around 235 BPM. This is probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest rising map in the pool because of how relentless it is. This is so stamina draining.
That is a significant step up in BPM as well. 220 to 235 for this pool.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting thing with those maps. The chord stream speed maps that you either can do them very well if you have this BPM in the comfort zone, or you cannot do them at all. So if you aren't keeping up with the map, you will tank a lot of accuracy and misses. So this probably will be the pick that will like it will be very divisive between the stronger teams and the weaker teams, or the teams that don't have the second player really at the condition.
Yeah, we did see a few teams already starting to struggle on the 220 BPM just this weekend, so this is absolutely going to be out of the comfort zone of a lot of players in some teams. But as you said, if you really can play the 230 BPM, some of the exceptionally strong players, this will not be too bad for them.
Yeah, this map is actually pretty constantly difficult. Maybe the intro is a bit easier, but in general those patterns are pretty comfortable, apart from like some transitions which are pretty tight and require some control. But in general, this is the density that should be manageable to many people, at least the better players. You have some small ninjaks to care here, but it shouldn't be a big problem. Yeah, the last section is the hardest one because it has the least breaks and the string is the longest here.
Yeah, so stamina is really going to start kicking in here because it has been not really many breaks throughout the map in general, and just a constant amount of speed.
Yeah, the patterns are really pretty here, but they aren't easy. I mean, they are easy, but on this speed you need to put a serious muscle your efforts to ensure you can hit those legitimately, because if you try to cheat them, you will lose a lot of accuracy. This is a big step up from the Carnation pick, and probably one of the hardest maps in the pool, I would say.
Yeah, we'll see how many times it gets picked then in the future matches. Okay, so it looks like we have Time for the Moon Knight now, Jin Jin map, and wow, this start rating.
Yes, this is a lot of inflated long note star rating, so this doesn't mean anything, especially that this song isn't like very dense or very fast. It's just, it has some pretty interesting long note patterns that inflate the rating. Speaking of which, this is a long note mixed map, so this is a pretty neat combination of any long note pattern we have, and like I would say a successor to the Lofty's War pick. This is kept a bit in the auto style, so many players from that game can see some familiar patterns that are very common in this style of charting. You can already see there is some like one-handed inverse sections or trills or other shields. And I would say the hardest parts are the choruses, which feature like the densest patterning and some pretty interesting like bracket releases or inverses.
Oh, the density really does spike up here as well. A lot of inverse style patterns.
Yep. In general, the inverse taking over those maps will be a common occurrence in the later rounds because of how long notes work, that the hard difficulty comes from the inverses. This is very difficult. I cannot play this part at all because how confusing it is. And I would say this is like the middle difficulty of the map. This probably shouldn't be very difficult for any team, but it shouldn't be the easiest map either. Mostly because it's a bit faster than the VW/WWW, but it's also more complex and has much difficult patterning. Yes, the second course is pretty comfortable with all those like joined chords, but then you get, and again, it's very stary and dense sections which require some coordination. The OD is only 5, so this map shouldn't be a very difficult to accuracy, but again, you need to make sure you can combo all of those patterns correctly, otherwise you're going to have bad time.
Mostly going to be about that combo game, but there are a lot of tricky patterns in this that I can see repeated breaks on quite frequently in some of them potentially.
Yes, this map looks pretty normal, but if you can read those patterns, you can see lots of small traps that are placed in this map through the whole map. The last course is the densest one and probably the most difficult, as always. You have some very interesting auto-jump style bursts. This is probably a shout out to Nima, who does very similar patterning all the time in his maps. Nima, also known as Miski from Thailand team. Oh yeah, this is
some nice short long notes towards the end of the map here.
This is very this looks standard, but it's also pretty tricky to get perfectly. So this might not be the hardest pick, but again, it can be quite a pain to deal with if you want to perfect it.
Testing quite a few different types of patterns and skill sets there.
Yeah, but this is definitely the most like the diverse map in the pool. And we can jump to another pick, which is Mushi no Sumu Tokoro. And this is a short version map by Remoring. And this is the, I would say, technical hybrid. So this is probably the most complex map in the pool, and also might be the most difficult one to high score probably, because of how complex it is.
and really short as well. At 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Yeah, lots of difficult bursts and long note sections and lots of stuff going on. Luckily this is short and this has some pretty well defined breaks in the song, so there are like sections, like 3 or 4 sections of intense gameplay, which second one is just beginning. Those bursts are very tight, lots of long notes, jacks, bursts, anything. This is, as I said, very complex map. It isn't that difficult by people that can like play tech stuff, but on the other hand, like try to high score this. You will have a bad time doing that.
Yeah, some really tough bursts everywhere. Oh, getting some mini jacks in as well in between the LNs.
Yeah, this is probably the hardest hybrid, though there is one more that might also give problems to some people. But in general, this probably will be avoided by most of teams until they have like no other choice.
Yeah, very risky.
Though all of the patterns here, yes, most of the patterns here are pretty comfortable and well made, so it's a skill issue if anything.
Okay, next one we have up here is Swim in the Sea. So I believe this is another rice pick coming in here.
Exactly, this is Swimming in the Sea of Quarks. Dressurf is probably well acquainted with that map because he also mapped one of the same song. And this is a speed pick, and it's a pretty fast pick because it's at 350 BPM. So a big step up from Phalanx, but at the same time the patterns are much more straightforward. Most of them are like stereo delay type patterns. So this is actually pretty easy to combo for the most part. The hardest part is again the ending, but mostly because the stream is like non-stop there. This is pretty funny polyrhythm section, but I don't expect like many players to miss on this. Played by Megumin from, I don't know, Attack on Titan, yes.
From Attack on Titan? Ah, of course.
Such a lovely lady. But yeah, this section is a bit different because it was on different snap, and now we are going to the main meat of this map, so those bears are very relentless and they just go all the way in this section.
It can be pretty brutal to hack as well, even if some of the combo might be a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah, yes, this map is on the harder side, I would say, especially the second section, which will be difficult to combo. The whole map is also pretty hard to hack, mostly because of the sheer speed and like rice prowess needed to execute it. It's very comfortable, but it's also easy to miss and just not be able to read this properly. And time for another Gingy map. This is Igor Robert, and shout out to everyone named Robert. If you are Robert, you're awesome. If you aren't Robert, you are awesome as well. But this map probably will be hated by everyone who tries to play it because of how technical it is. It's also a very good contrast between this map and Sparks, which is mixed right. This is technical, and you can see how irregular this map is.
Oh, we can already see plenty of bursts coming. Oh, that was a nasty drill. But plenty of bursts coming in here.
This brackets drill is probably one of the most difficult sections to perform well on. But generally, this map is filled with like mini jacks, bursts, and any sort of very demanding patterning, I would say. Also, keeping accuracy on this is almost impossible, even though the OD is actually lower than 8. At the same time, it may be treated as either very easy or very hard, depending on like your skill set, because some people struggle a lot with maps like this, and other people, especially those that aren't like gorilla style players and instead prefer like the accuracy approach, they will enjoy this map and probably even pick this.
We're seeing a few different like single hand staircases kind of that can be really tricky, and yeah, little like mini trills that we're seeing on like 1, 2, and 6th, 7th column.
Yes, there are lots of patterns. When I first saw the map, I thought like I didn't even think such a pattern exists. But here we are at Robert, and this map. Actually, it's a very good map. I enjoyed playing it a lot. You can see those like snake-like.
Oh, those look
yes.
absolutely impossible to hack.
Yeah, but at the same time, they play better than I expected. They play very interestingly, and they are doable. This is much more difficult than Killian Short, that is for sure, especially in terms of like actual difficulty in the whole map, because Killian Shores had a lot of filler and a lot of sections where you just have free accuracy. Here there is
nothing.
Everything, something going on all the time. Exactly, nothing to like break on.
There is absolutely not a single pattern here that is easy in any way to hack. Everything is just so brutal by the looks of it here.
Yeah, even the song is scary.
I always see like trills on one hand like that towards the end. I like cringe. I would not be able to play stuff like that.
Yeah, this is a very interesting map, and I suppose it will be picked. It's better than it looks, really. It doesn't play like very bad. It's just technical, I would say.
Very technical. So next up here we have God-ish by Maple Syrup.
And you already know this is another VTuber map.
Wait, this is just 3 V. Oh
Yes.
my, I missed one.
Yes, there was Sparks, there was Fake, and there was this one, God-ish. And this is the, I would say, new category of map. This is long note wildcard, I would say, which is mainly focused about shields and very uncomfortable, awkward patterning. So for me, this is the hardest long note map of the pool, mostly because of how difficult it is in terms of like actual long note difficulty. There is everything. There are shields, there are inverses, there are bursts, and other auto-jam SQ patterning, which is extremely difficult to perform well on. So this is probably the map that long note players will totally abuse, and Rise players won't be able to play it at all.
So potentially one of the maps that'll get banned a lot as well. We did see a lot of inverse towards the start, but now we've got other types of density patterns here.
Exactly, it is pretty dense, but also very difficult with all the shields. So if you don't want to play this, you have to ban it, but then the Snowy will be free, so you have to decide if you want to play releases or this.
Yeah, we've got 5 LN maps, so you can only ban one of them.
Yeah, this is actually a type of map. That is very interesting, because this map plays actually very well, but you need to have like this muscle memory to perform all those shields. If you cannot do those, this suddenly becomes very difficult. So it's like a test if you actually can play those long notes, or you can just like pretend and like play them like Rise. You need to actual knowledge of those patterns.
Yeah, not like the density pick where you can get a decent score with just Rise ability. You really need that LN practice.
That was like a small break section with different BPM, but now we are approaching the second chorus, which will be similar to the first one, but also as much difficult. This is pretty slow, only 142 BPM, but as I said, probably the hardest map in the terms of long notes in this pool, and maybe even in the whole pool, maybe barring Shoot and Osaki, or like Robert if you aren't good at tech.
And this is also quite long as well, almost 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, this is also one of the like longer long note picks. Probably the longest one, I think. I don't even remember. Yeah, maybe apart from like W/WWW. But a very short map is coming up, so we have something to balance out. Also beware, because this is very easily mind blockable. This part and the intro is also very easy to mind block, so forget what I said just now and try to play this well on side read.
Don't practice it at all.
Yeah, and moving to the next map, and this is going to be the last hybrid of the pool. This is Akuta Nigraludia, Difficulty Nightmare from Wilben-chan, another map from Wilben.
Very short one.
Yes, this is like a difficult hybrid, I would say. This is very dense, very long notey, but also has lots of like dense rise patterns, so it's pretty intense, I would say.
Yeah, we're already seeing right out the gate there are a lot of mixed rice and LN patterns in there. Holds while maintaining those dense rice patterns on the other columns.
Yeah, it's not very fast because it's only 177 PM, but this is very dense, as I said, and probably one of the harder hybrids. It's actually harder than the Mushina Sumo for me because of how dense and like those long mode patterns are also pretty difficult because they are not like patterns you can play on autopilot. This is like a gold stream section with some long node bursts inserted. Also, there is one difficult mini jack at the beginning, which might be a bit mind blockable, but we decided to keep it because it's interesting to have.
Because it's funny in match.
Yeah, you can also play mirror, so yeah.
We'll see if it catches out anyone in an actual match then. Because single misses like that can actually be very impactful, especially in a song this short.
Yeah, so this is mainly hybrid because of how dense it is. So even long node players it might be sort of like a long node density for long node players, but at the same time, it's so dense that it's not just simple long nodes at this point, and you need to be actually good at rise.
Okay, looks like, we've got Jasmine T-Girl here, and I believe this is going to be the quad jack pick of the pool.
Yep, mapped and played by Evening, who also wanted to shout out South Korea and Switzerland, Canada, for not banning Phalanx and playing it instead. Thank you! So, coming back to this map, it's pretty dense, but also some of the patterns are very interesting and like not very diverse, I would say. Those patterns are pretty ever-changing at 130 BPM.
Yeah, the previous map, I believe, was something like 220 BPM, so about 110, if I'm not mistaken.
140. So it's like 16 BPM more.
Yeah, so a pretty big step up, definitely. Especially now that we're getting into the very fast range of jacks. As well as being as dense as it is, there's quite a few large chords that we see in these patterns. And also long as well.
Yeah, this map is very nicely executed, mostly because those chords are either placed on one hand or they are repeated, so it's easy to like do this motion, and it's not very stressful to read. It's mostly just like you need to have this speed in the hands, but it's not like you don't feel this speed in the so heavily because of how well the patterns are structured. This is probably one of the harder picks to categorize, mostly because how rising jacks are as a skill set. It's less like chord based than L99, it's more like pure jack based because it isn't as dense and as relentless as like L99. But still, it shouldn't be shouldn't be an easy pick. It either is very easy or very difficult, and this type of chugs will scale, and some players might already have problems with this map.
Yeah, very much depends on the comfort level for the BPM. But next, moving on, it looks like we have SHK Violet Perfume by Wilbenchan here.
Yep, another Wilbenchan map, and this is an edit, and this is a coordination map. So a step up from Mojito, from the long note map.
Yep.
Yeah, that one. Yes, and
From the other
this
Wilbenchan.
is relentless coordination all the time. This is very difficult. We had to make an edit to be suitable for semifinals. So you can already see like those chord trills with long notes. It's so easy to mistakenly press the wrong button, wrong key, and there are also some like full-fledged inverse sections. This is pretty short, but one of the more demanding normal maps in the pool, I would say. This is probably easy for players that are very good at long notes, but if you aren't, you shouldn't touch this map.
Yeah, just like with the other coordination picks, we have a very slow map, not too many difficult release timings, but the coordination is something that a large number of people definitely struggle with a lot when it comes to long notes.
Yeah, but exactly. This is also interesting because, as brought into chat, this song sounds like it's M2U, and I was sure it is M2U, but it's actually SHK. Maybe some like reference to M2U. Yeah, this is the hardest section of the map, the like long big inverse. And what else to say? This is pretty constantly difficult. So good luck, long note players, because you won't have much break apart from that like one rise segment in the middle.
Yeah, it might be one that we see being played a lot, given that some of the other LN maps might be the go-to bands for some teams.
Yeah, like M2U Avril, here we have this map. And we will also have the last pick before the tiebreaker, and it's also the longest map in the pool, barring the tiebreaker. And this is a map most of several key players know, but this is the no long notes version, and this is Electromagnetic Stealth Girl born in Philadelphia. And this is a longer mixed rise pick, which probably is suitable to call a rise tiebreaker because of how diverse it is in terms of patterning, and also because it's longer than other rise picks in the pool. You have everything here. You have streams, you have chord jacks, you have bursts, you have chord streams, and it drains your stamina pretty fast.
Yeah, almost 5 minutes in length as well. Definitely, if you don't have the stamina for it, you're going to struggle towards the end.
Yeah, this edit was made for people that don't like long notes. So the anti-long note spray has been used. I can see in the build-up already. This is the build-up with like jacks, and this doesn't get easier than this. This is going to get progressively harder. There are some small breaks, but in general the map is relentless for like 4 minutes starting from now.
Oh, and here we go. You can immediately see a lot of these fast bursts coming in.
Yeah, this is a spectacular map. It's so good, and those patterns are so taxing and so difficult to like do all of them. This is very tiring, especially the ending.
If you can even save your stamina towards the end, that is.
Yeah, probably this will be avoided because of its sheer like difficulty and length, but at the same time it's also a band bait, and if this gets banned, then the other rise picks don't get banned. Especially Shuten Dosaki, which is probably more difficult than this map actually, because of how fast it is. And this map is actually pretty manageable if you're like good at tech stuff, and also you can combine this with your stamina.
Yeah, we haven't had a rice map quite as long as this one yet so far in the pool, so it'll be interesting to see how the stamina aspect plays a role in each team's picks and bans.
Exactly, this is probably the best map to test stamina, maybe apart from Revixie, but Revixie is actually more of like a consistency pick for these teams, and Shuten is like more like higher difficulty pick instead. So this probably is the most stamina based. Actually, I would like a bit compared to like Gunkyo from the first pool, but this Rice pick and not a hybrid. But those maps like function pretty similarly in terms of like how they just go on for 4 minutes and just destroy your fingers. Yeah, there is going to be a BPM change soon, and the patterns are going to change even further. So probably my favorite part of this chart is coming right now.
Oh, here we go.
This is so epic, actually. And here we go.
Ooh, we've got really fast bursts here, and a little bit of chords going on as well.
Yeah, actually the BPM here isn't like very high, so those are like above 200 something, but also not like blisteringly fast. It's more about like those bursts, which are a lot of them. There are a lot of those bursts and jacks, so they are the main difficulty and the reason you can get tired playing this map. And the last section is actually the most stamina based because of those like bursty double stairs and chord streams that are very long, and they don't actually, there won't be any more breaks until the ending.
Yeah, this is just not stopping whatsoever right now. Just a constant stream of notes.
Yes, like the map pool from this year is actually more close to the final difficulty from the previous NWC. Maybe it's not quite there yet, but it's definitely a big step up from the previous NWC, and some of the picks might be touching the finals from 2019.
Okay, and that was the last map of the normal pool, I believe. So there's only one map left. And that's going to be the tiebreaker, which is another Camellia map, Newspapers for Musicians. By
Magicians.
Oh, yeah, Magicians, that's the one.
Yeah, shoutouts to Harry Potter for this one. And yeah, this is another Camellia map. We have actually 3 Camellia maps in this showcase, and this is Tiebreaker, which has been generously edited by Blocko to be even more fitting for our purposes. And the edit actually was a slight nerf, but the star rating was skyrocketed to 9.5, which again, thanks for the stay releases and other long note patterns that buffed the rating quite significantly. So this map is probably, maybe it's not as difficult as Nerve was in the quarterfinals in terms of like comparison to the rest of the pool, but at the same time it's also pretty difficult, and I would say this is like finals level pretty much. So this map is very diverse. It has some like pure Rice sections, which we'll see just now, and later the big chorus with like long note streams that are progressively more difficult. Also, this is shorter than 5 minutes, so I'm sorry for everyone that has voted that it will be longer.
Not quite as long as the previous one, but still pretty significant, around 5 minutes in length.
Yeah, you can see all of those. Oh, nice! Nice meet Jinjin. Yeah, but those sections are pretty unforgiving. There are lots of pretty fast jacks. 150 is pretty decent for a map like this, and lots of like hard bursts and other funny patterns. But as we can see, the long note difficulty isn't there yet. It will be unraveling in the second part of the chart, and for now you have a small break.
Yeah, very much a Rice focused first half here.
Yeah, the first half is focused by Rice, and the second half will be more of a long note approach. And you can see a pretty fast section right there with lots of difficult bursts and mini jacks, which are accompanied by like very small amounts of long notes. But probably the hardest part is the long node part, which we will see in a while.
Oh,
This is also pretty hard to execute. So overall, this map is filled with difficult patterns and traps that, even though they are like manageable, you need to really pay attention to them.
a very small gap in burst there with the bit of an oval pattern being made.
Yeah, and we are having a small break before the main chorus kicks in, and the chorus is quite something to behold, and you will see in a moment what I'm talking about.
Oh, and here is the LN difficulty.
Yeah, but this difficulty will be filling probably the rest of the chart until the ending, which is a small break. But those patterns get significantly more difficult. For now, this is like mostly long notes. And in the second part of the chorus, we will see actually that those long notes get so dense and so speedy that they will be no longer like just long notes. And you need also you can see them right there. You need a pretty high level of price progress to play those patterns. Probably the hardest part of the map is right now those difficult and dense long notes, all sorts of bursts are waiting to like decide the outcome of the match.
Getting a few jacks and bursts, rice bursts in between them now towards the end of the map.
Yeah, this map is so well made. Shoutouts to Blocko for being such a good mapper, and for editing it even further for our RTB purposes. And this is actually very enjoyable to play, and probably also going for ranked as well, like the original diff, so you might want to check it out. And yes, it's a tiebreaker, the last map of this pool.
Yeah, we'll see if we see any tiebreaker matches that get to this map next week.
Hopefully, there are some pretty intense matchups coming out there, so you don't want to miss the semifinals at all, especially with this pool.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how the pool fare with some of the really hard maps. Actually, quite a big step up from last week as well. So that'll do it for us for now, it seems.
I guess so.
Last words?
Well, standardly, good luck to all players. And also, I see the chat, and I also have heard this, that many people were expecting for this tiebreaker to be this map, but yeah, they probably didn't expect the edit, so here we are. And if you have any questions or like feedback for this poll, be sure to leave it in the proper channel. And for now, I think you just need to play it and see for yourself how it looks.
Yeah,
One chances you have on it.
Yeah, well, good luck to all the players, and we'll hopefully see some exciting matches next week. So see you all then.
See you.